Yeah, there's no question that the hottest topic out there as it relates to the world of really television advertising, again, broadly defined, inclusive of all things streaming, is one of how do you have an accurate measurement across all screens, devices, and platforms? And that's certainly a complex question. Now, clearly, it's evolving rapidly because the amount of money being spent by marketers in those channels matters. And from a media publisher perspective, they have enough audience there that it really needs to be covered accurately. And the news has covered why that's been a challenge. Listen, we're not in the direct game of trying to establish the next currency, which actually I don't think there will be one. I think there'll be a several handful of ways that marketers and media companies kind of work together to kind of transact this cross-channel media ecosystem. But where we play and where we're relevant in that ecosystem is simply the notion that in order to do this well, whatever the end answer is of how things will be transacted, you need to understand the unique reach and delivery you've had across that campaign, right? That is ultimately an identity problem that is super challenging in the world where you think about everything from the linear set-top box to all your streaming channels and devices, and the difference between understanding a person and a household and the devices connected. And so, listen, I don't think there's any question that we're going to see a ton of evolution in this space in 2022. We're already seeing news about how different brands and agencies are transacting with different publishers on some of these quote unquote new currencies. I think we'll see much more of that test and learn in 2022. And again, I don't think the end point will be an arrival at a single new model, just acceptance of a handful of other models that will more and more lead toward getting a census level understanding of that reach and frequency. And again, that's all underpinned by identity. That doesn't mean panels are not important. That's part of the mix here, right? They're good corroboration, good anchoring of kind of information and assets. But this is fundamentally, it's an identity challenge. And so we're going to hopefully continue to be part of that ecosystem evolving under that hood. They're providing that identity infrastructure to enable these new currencies to evolve. And then, of course, we have other solutions that surround it. But our role specifically as it relates to the transaction nature of the industry will be to support from an identity perspective.
So, Matt, a lot of people are using the term identity and a lot of vendors are using it. And it's a great positioning in the marketplace. And dare I say, for fundraising and other reasons, it's kind of a hot topic. Is identity being overused in the industry? How do you identify it, and what's going on in the sort of the space?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I actually think it is one of these words that has become somewhat too generic. Really, what we're talking about when really the industry says the word identity, we really mean identity resolution, right? It's the process of being able to connect different devices to individuals and different individuals to households, and to do that with consistency, with scale, with accuracy, and with a variety of touch points that it makes it usable and actionable, right? We often say this: everyone in the industry, whether you're a buyer or a seller of media or advertising, you're a marketer at a broad perspective, you're a technology company, you have to have some form of, quote, an identity strategy, and you need to be talking about the fact that you can utilize identity. There's, though, a difference from that and being a provider of identity resolution and really an identity infrastructure. And that's, I think, the difference that is not often enough codified, if you will. We're in that latter camp, right? We're a few of a handful of companies that can really provide an identity resolution infrastructure, the graph at scale, the technology at scale, the distribution at scale, to enable companies to transact with an identity underpinning. Again, a big difference than a media company building their identity graph or a marketer agency doing the same. And again, everyone should have their flavor, but that's got to connect to, again, an ecosystem and a technology infrastructure that actually makes it usable. And very few companies are actually doing that. So it's a long way of saying, yeah, the word identity is becoming a little bit too generic. We need to be, I think, more specific and really talk about the difference from investing in your own view of understanding your customer and prospect identity, which you should do, different from the companies that are actually creating the ecosystem that allows for our whole business to move to this more precision, people-based marketing ecosystem.
So, Matt, big year for you guys with the integration of much of Neustar. Tell us what's ahead and what the market can expect.
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, as it relates to certainly the world that, we're predominantly talking about, which is the, category of media entertainment companies and a focus on marketing solutions, we're happily, we completed the transaction in December. It closed then, done a ton of integration work already. We're pulling together our product stacks. And of course, there'll be layers of that onion, if you will, or steps in that model. But we've really got a crisp vision of how to bring together what was, a lot of commonalities between our two companies, but with some different endpoints, right? So both of our businesses were focused predominantly on providing that identity resolution capabilities. We both had different capabilities as relates to audiences and segment creation and targeting. Again, slightly different flavors. We've owned a data marketplace as one of the perspectives of what we bring to market. That wasn't something Newstar directly owned. And then where TransUnion didn't historically play, but Newstar's who's been a market leader is in the multi-touch attribution and media mix modeling space, or the marketing performance measurement space. So really think about what we're going to be stitching together and bringing to market is the helping you understand who, right? Really providing that identity infrastructure, helping you understand who to reach and when to reach them. That's that segmentation strategy, the building of segments and distribution of them. And then third, helping provide solutions that measure the impact of the first two. So we really like that solution set, really great. Teams have come together well. There's clearly a lot of work to be done, but very happy with the early momentum. And what we're hearing from the market is a ton of excitement and a ton of interest into what we're bringing together, because I think the market's looking for this, really scaled, trusted partner that can do this mix of solutions and is also pretty understanding of our swim lane. And I think we've done all those things.